Have you ever noticed that the way you start your morning often shapes the entire day? One text, one thought, one small action can set the tone for everything that follows. And in relationships, this first moment of connection carries incredible weight. Most men overlook it. They send the same old good morning message, then wait for a reply that often never comes. But a high-value man, a man who lives by Stoic principles, knows how to turn this simple ritual into something unforgettable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your first thought of the day is shallow and predictable, then so will be her impression of you. But if your words spark curiosity, warmth, or inspiration, you place yourself firmly in her mind. Why do we remember certain people long after they've left the room? It's rarely because they told us everything. It's because they left a trace of mystery. In the same way, a thoughtful good morning text should not reveal everything. It should leave her wondering. A line like, "Good morning. You wouldn't believe the dream I had about you last night," opens a loop in her mind. She will think about you during the day, waiting for the rest of the story. Seneca said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. When you hold back just enough, you show strength. You show composure. You don't need to over-explain or overshare to be valued." Look at social media. Those who broadcast every detail fade into the background. Those who reveal just enough, who remain a little mysterious, capture attention. The same applies in relationships. A high-value man doesn't chase approval with endless words. He creates presence through restraint. He lets curiosity work in his favor. Imagine her opening her phone in the morning, expecting another dull good morning, but instead finding something that intrigues her, something that makes her smile and wonder about you all day. This is not manipulation. It's emotional intelligence. It's the art of connection rooted in Stoic wisdom. Control what you reveal. Maintain balance and let your actions carry quiet power. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." You don't need to prove yourself with every message. You need only to plant the right seed and let her imagination do the rest. So the next time you reach for your phone, ask, "Am I sending words she'll forget? Or am I leaving an impression she'll carry with her all day?" Master this, and you're not just sending a text. You're building a lasting presence in her heart and mind. Most men send good morning texts that mean nothing. They write a quick "hope you're good" and think it's enough. But a high-value man knows that every word can build a bridge. Instead of empty greetings, he uses this moment to touch the heart and create a deeper bond. Imagine receiving a message that says, "Good morning. I hope today brings you closer to your goals." What are you working toward right now? This is not small talk. It's an invitation. You are showing her that her dreams matter, that you see her not just as someone to impress, but as a person with passions and ambitions. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." A man who asks about her dreams is not chasing approval. He is living as a man of depth. He knows presence is stronger than performance. I once knew a man who always tried to impress women with compliments and stories of his success. It never lasted. When he shifted his focus and started asking about their thoughts, their hopes, and their struggles, everything changed. A woman who once felt distant began to open up. Why? Because she finally felt understood. Seneca said, "We are always complaining that our days are few, and acting as though there would be no end of them." When you pause to ask her what matters most in her life, you are giving her the rare gift of attention. You are reminding her that time is short, so let's talk about what is real. This is the essence of Stoic love, to see beyond appearances, to value what truly matters. Not with endless flattery, but with quiet curiosity. Not with pressure, but with patience. A thoughtful good morning text can transform the ordinary into something meaningful. It says, "I see you. I care about what drives you, and I want to know the person behind the smile." Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The man who listens. The man who asks becomes unforgettable. So the next time you pick up your phone, remember, the power is not in saying more, but in asking better. Attraction is not only physical, it begins in the mind. A powerful way to connect is by sparking her creativity, making her imagine possibilities with you. Most men waste this chance with predictable words, but a high-value man knows how to inspire thought. Try a message like, "Good morning. If you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be?" It's simple, yet it pulls her into a vision, an imaginative journey where you are part of the scene. She pauses, reflects, and suddenly her mind is with you in places she has always dreamed of. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By asking her to dream, you are raising the quality of the conversation. You are guiding her mind toward beauty, possibility, and connection. I knew a couple who used this practice daily. Each morning they shared one dream destination. Over time, these small exchanges created a bond stronger than any compliment. They weren't just talking about travel, they were building a shared world, one thought at a time. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Most people waste conversations on shallow words. But when you use your morning message to inspire, you prove that you value depth over distraction. This is what makes you unforgettable. While other men text cliches, you invite her to dream with you. It shows her you are not a man who seeks attention. You are a man who creates meaning. Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." If you want to be a man who inspires, then begin by sending words that inspire. A good morning text, when crafted with intention, is not just a greeting. It is an opening to a deeper connection, a reminder that true attraction begins in the mind long before it is felt anywhere else. A good morning text can do more than say hello. It can spark wonder, a sense of curiosity that lingers all day. Most men settle for the ordinary, but a high-value man uses this moment to create anticipation. Imagine receiving, "Good morning. Something incredible happened last night that made me think of you. I'll tell you later." With just a few words, you've planted a seed in her mind. She spends her day wondering, waiting, eager to hear more. This is how you become unforgettable. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By leaving her with a question, you guide her thoughts toward you, filling her day with curiosity and excitement. It's not a game, it's the art of leaving space for imagination. I knew a man who mastered this well. Instead of flooding his partner with long texts, he would send one simple line that hinted at something to come. She admitted later that those messages made her day brighter because they gave her something to look forward to. That anticipation built more connection than any paragraph ever could. Seneca reminded us, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Most people waste words without meaning. But if you choose words that stir her imagination, you stand apart from the noise. You show her that communication, even in small doses, can bring joy. Epictetus taught, if you want to be invincible, don't enter into contests where victory is not in your control. You cannot control her response. You can control the value you put into each message. A text that sparks wonder is your gift. Whether she answers or not, you have already shown her something rare: depth, presence, and intention. So the next time you write a morning message, don't just greet her day. Give her something to carry with her. A spark of wonder is stronger than 100 predictable words. One of the most powerful ways to deepen connection is by bringing back shared memories. A good morning text that recalls a meaningful moment does more than greet her day. It revives emotions she felt with you. Imagine this message: "Good morning. I was just thinking about that afternoon we spent at the park. It was such a great time. What do you say we relive it soon?" With one line, you awaken joy, nostalgia, and closeness. These feelings connect her to you more strongly than any compliment ever could. Nostalgia is a bridge. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By guiding her mind back to a beautiful memory, you bring her day into focus with warmth. She will carry that positive thought with her, and by extension, carry you with it. I once knew a man who never relied on expensive gifts or dramatic gestures. Instead, he built his relationship on recalling small but meaningful experiences: a rainy walk, a quiet dinner, a shared laugh. His partner later admitted those memories meant more than any present. Why? Because they reminded her of who they were together. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future, by sharing a memory." You give her the chance to pause and savor the joy of what already exists between you. In a world rushing forward, this reminder of the past feels grounding and rare. Epictetus taught, "Remember, it is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them." When you recall a memory with care, you guide her judgment, helping her see your time together as special, worth cherishing, worth repeating. So don't underestimate a message that says more than good morning. Remind her of the moments that matter. Nostalgia is not just looking back, it is planting the desire to create new memories together. A true compliment has power, but only when it is sincere and thoughtful. Most men throw around generic words, "You're beautiful" or "You look amazing," and wonder why they blend in with the crowd. A high-value man sees deeper. Imagine sending "Good morning." "You know what I admire most about you? Your laugh. It lights up every room." This is not about surface beauty. It's about showing that you notice something unique, something real. That is what makes her feel truly seen. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." A compliment that lacks truth loses value. But when you speak with honesty, your words carry weight. I once knew a man who was quiet by nature, but when he offered a compliment, it landed deeply. Why? Because everyone knew he meant it. His partner once said that she valued his rare, thoughtful words more than constant flattery from others. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." A well-placed compliment is kindness in action. Not to flatter for gain, but to honor what is genuine in another person. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak, to notice her laugh. Her energy, her character, you must first observe. You must pay attention. That awareness separates a man of depth from a man who only looks at appearances." So the next time you reach for your phone, ask yourself, am I sending empty words, or am I offering a glimpse into what I truly value? A subtle compliment rooted in truth will always mean more than the loudest praise. This is how a Stoic man shows he sees beyond the surface, and that is unforgettable. Humor is one of the simplest yet strongest ways to connect. A lighthearted message in the morning can set her day on fire with positivity. Too many men forget this, choosing to be overly formal or predictable. But a high-value man knows that joy is just as attractive as strength. Picture this message. "Good morning. I had the craziest dream last night. I was a superhero, and guess who I saved?" Instantly, you create curiosity and laughter. She may wonder what happened next, but more importantly, she now associates you with fun and lightness. Marcus Aurelius said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Life will test you. But laughter shows you can wrestle with hardship while keeping your spirit light." Humor is not weakness. It is proof of resilience. I knew a man who worked long, exhausting hours. Yet every morning he sent his partner a playful text, sometimes absurd, sometimes witty. She admitted those small moments kept their bond alive. Even on difficult days, his humor gave her something to look forward to. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Wasting time on dull, forgettable words is a mistake. A message that makes her smile is never wasted. It creates joy she will remember. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If you can bring humor into ordinary mornings, you show mastery over life's seriousness. You prove you can hold both strength and lightness at once. So don't be afraid to use humor in your good morning texts. Not to entertain endlessly, but to show balance. The man who can make her laugh while living with purpose is the man she will never forget. Sometimes the most powerful good morning text is not about charm or humor, but about motivation. A high-value man knows that lifting others higher is the mark of true strength. Instead of sending empty greetings, he uses his words to inspire action. Imagine receiving "Good morning." Remember, The only thing between you and your dreams today is action. Go make it happen. This is not just a message, it's a spark. It shows you care about her growth, not just her attention, Marcus Aurelius said. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By guiding her toward thoughts of courage and determination, you're shaping her day in a meaningful way. You remind her she already has what it takes to succeed. I once knew a man who practiced this daily. His partner said what set him apart was not only his love, but how he believed in her potential. A single motivating text made her feel supported, even when life was heavy. That steady encouragement built a bond that lasted. Seneca wrote, "While we teach, we learn." When you send words that inspire, you remind yourself of the same truth. You don't just help her, you strengthen your own resolve. A Stoic man uplifts others because he walks the same path of discipline and purpose. Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do by sending motivation." You're practicing what you preach, choosing to act with intention, not passivity. So the next time you send a morning message, ask yourself, am I adding noise or am I adding strength? Inspire her to rise, and you prove you are not only a man of confidence, but also a man who builds others along the way. A good morning text can do more than greet the day. It can show thoughtfulness. Most men type without intention, but a high-value man notices the details that others overlook. Imagine sending, "Good morning. I've noticed how hard you've been working lately. I hope you can find a moment to rest today. You deserve it." In one line, a reminder that she is seen, valued, and cared for. This is not flattery, it is awareness. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." By recognizing her efforts, you give her the gift of gratitude and remind her to slow down in a rushing world. I knew a woman who once said the most meaningful text she ever received was not a compliment, but a simple message that showed someone noticed her struggles. That moment mattered more than dozens of empty words because it touched her reality. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Many people carry unnecessary burdens in their minds. A gentle reminder to rest and breathe can ease that weight. Thoughtfulness is not grand, but it is powerful. Epictetus taught, "Small-minded people blame others. Average people blame themselves. The wise see all blame as foolishness." To notice her well-being without judgment shows wisdom. You are not trying to fix her. You are simply present. So the next time you reach for your phone, don't just send a greeting. Send presence. Send care. In a world of noise, thoughtfulness is rare, and that is what makes it unforgettable. One of the most overlooked tools in relationships is anticipation. A simple good morning text can create excitement that lasts all day if done with intention. Most men send predictable words. A high-value man sparks curiosity. Picture sending, "Good morning. I'm planning a surprise for you. I can't wait to see your reaction." With one line, you invite her imagination to work in your favor. She spends her day wondering what's coming, carrying thoughts of you with her. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By planting a seed of positive expectation, you shift her mindset toward joy and curiosity. It is not manipulation, it is thoughtful connection. I knew a man who never relied on constant texting. Instead, he sent a few intentional words that hinted at something ahead. His partner later admitted those short, exciting texts made her feel valued because they broke routine and gave her something to look forward to. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Wasting words on cliches is easy, but choosing words that build excitement creates value. It turns an ordinary day into something memorable. Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." If you want to be a man who inspires, then craft messages that inspire. A small surprise, delivered with sincerity, is more powerful than constant attention. So the next time you type a morning message, don't settle for routine. Use your words to create anticipation, to stir emotion, to remind her that life with you is never dull. Excitement is not about doing more. It's about saying less with meaning. There comes a moment when a man must stop chasing. The more you run after someone, the more power you hand away. A high-value man understands this truth and chooses dignity over desperation. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are rooted in scarcity, you will accept crumbs. But if your thoughts are abundant, you demand more because you know your worth." I once knew a man who bent over backward to keep a woman's attention. He was always available, always giving. In time, she lost respect for him. Only when he stepped back, focusing on his own life, his own standards, did she begin to realize what she stood to lose. Suddenly, the balance shifted. She chased what she once took for granted. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more." That is poor. When you crave her approval, you become poor in spirit. But when you let go, you regain your value. Walking away when you are undervalued is not weakness, it is strength. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If she withdraws, do not respond with panic. Respond with calm. A man who holds his ground shows that he cannot be controlled by another's whims." So remember, the moment you stop chasing, everything changes. You stop being the man who begs and become the man who is chosen. By practicing restraint, you embody the Stoic path, self-respect, control, and quiet strength. And that is what makes her see your true value. One of the most valuable lessons for a man is to recognize the worth of his time and energy. Too many waste it chasing someone who doesn't reciprocate. A high-value man guards his time as his most precious asset. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Every hour spent on someone who does not value you is an hour you will never regain." Time is life itself, and a Stoic man refuses to throw it away. I once knew a man who poured endless effort into a woman who gave little in return. He planned, called, messaged, always hoping she would change, but nothing did. Only when he redirected that energy into his work, his health, and his friendships did his life transform. Ironically, that was when she noticed his absence and realized his value. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. When you live with this awareness, you stop squandering yourself on those who cannot see your worth. You choose to invest in what truly matters." Epictetus taught, "You may be unconquerable if you enter into no contest in which it is not in your power to conquer. Fighting for someone's approval is a battle you cannot win. But controlling how you spend your time is always within your power. So ask yourself, am I giving my life away to someone who doesn't value it? Or am I directing it toward people and pursuits that lift me higher?" A Stoic man values his time, and because of that, others learn to value it too. To live as a high-value man, you must see yourself as the main character of your own story. Too many men give that role away, centering their lives on a woman's approval, living only for her attention. This path leads to weakness and loss of self. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Being the protagonist means building your life on your own terms, with goals, discipline, and purpose. You are not a supporting role in someone else's drama. You are the author of your own journey. I once knew a man who constantly put his partner's needs before his own. He believed sacrifice would earn love, but instead he became invisible. Only when he chose to pursue his dreams again, his career, his fitness, his passions, did she begin to admire him once more. Why? Because he reclaimed his story. Seneca wrote, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary when you make someone else the center of your life. You suffer from fears that don't belong to you. By focusing on your own path, you remove unnecessary chains." Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. If you want respect, live respectably. If you want love, build a life worth sharing." A Stoic man leads by example, showing through action that his life has direction and depth. So remember, you are the protagonist. When you take charge, you attract others naturally, not by begging for their presence, but by living a life so purposeful they want to be part of it. That is the strength of a Stoic man, to lead his own story with clarity and courage. One of the most powerful shifts in relationships comes when a woman realizes she is not your only option. Many men wait endlessly for her to decide, while life and opportunity pass them by. A high-value man never stands still. He keeps moving forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Instead of waiting on someone else's choice, you focus on your own path. You meet new people, grow your career, live fully. This alone changes the dynamic." I once knew a man who, after a painful breakup, refused to wait in hope. He poured himself into his work, reconnected with friends, and went on new dates. Before long, his ex noticed. The very fact that he was no longer standing still, that he was building a life without her, made her desperate to come back. Not because he begged, but because he proved his value by living fully. Seneca said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Sitting idle, waiting for her, is not using life. Showing that you have options, that you are not dependent on one person for happiness, commands respect. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, content to be thought foolish and stupid. Some may judge you for moving on, but your duty is not to please them. Your duty is to live true to yourself, not to stay trapped in another's indecision." So remember, the man who demonstrates he has choices becomes the man of value. You are not a backup plan, not a spare option. You are a Stoic man who lives fully, and because of that, others will fight to be part of your life. Mystery is one of the strongest forces in attraction. Too many men reveal everything at once, thinking full honesty will win her heart. But predictability kills desire. A Stoic man knows how to remain intriguing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Life and relationships require strategy. Being an open book removes all tension. But when you share just enough and hold back the rest, you create curiosity that keeps her coming back." I once knew a man who never told his partner every detail of his day. Instead, he shared glimpses, a small success, a curious thought, a plan left unfinished. She later admitted this made her more excited to see him, because there was always something new to discover. Seneca said, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." Relationships, too, need their rough edges, the twists and turns that make the journey exciting. If she already knows every thought in your head, there is no road left to travel. Epictetus taught, "Control begins with the self. Mystery is not deception. It is self-control, the choice to reveal slowly, to let her earn deeper access to who you are." This keeps you in command of the dynamic. So the next time you're tempted to overshare, pause. Ask yourself, am I leaving space for her curiosity? Attraction thrives on mystery, and the man who masters it becomes unforgettable, calm, controlled, and endlessly fascinating. One of the greatest mistakes men make is being too available. When you are always at her call, she begins to see you as ordinary. A Stoic man understands the power of controlled distance. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Being one means living with purpose. If your life is full with work, discipline, and growth, you cannot always be available, and that scarcity builds value. I once knew a man who used to respond instantly to every message. At first, it seemed thoughtful. But soon, his partner admitted it made him predictable. When he began to slow down, focusing more on his goals, she noticed the difference and began to respect his time more. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere. If you are always present, your presence loses meaning. When you choose carefully when to engage, your presence gains weight." Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By reacting with patience instead of urgency, you show control. You prove that your time is precious and that she is part of your world, not the center of it." So remember, availability should be earned, not assumed. A Stoic man is not rude or cold. He is deliberate. And when you live this way, you show her that your life is full with or without her, and that is what makes her chase you instead. Many men make the mistake of laying all their emotions on the table too soon. They believe full transparency will win her heart. But predictability kills attraction. A Stoic man knows the value of restraint. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. By controlling what you reveal, you maintain strength." If she already knows every thought and feeling, there is no mystery left, nothing more to earn. I once knew a man who constantly told his partner how deeply he loved her every single day. At first it felt flattering, but over time she grew comfortable, even careless, because she believed she already had all of him. When he finally chose to hold back, focusing on his own life instead, her behavior shifted. She began to wonder, to question, and to chase. Seneca wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. True strength is not in endless declarations, but in emotional self-control." A measured word has far greater weight than a flood of words spoken out of need. Epictetus taught, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This is the essence of restraint. Speak less, but make each word count. Let her earn your deeper feelings over time, and she will value them far more. So remember, silence is not distance, and restraint is not coldness. It is strength. A Stoic man reveals enough to connect, but never so much that he becomes predictable. By keeping a part of yourself reserved, you remain a man of depth, someone she will always respect and desire. At the end of the day, the true lesson is clear. A high-value man does not chase approval. He builds it through presence, self-respect, and intention. Good morning texts are not tricks. They are reflections of the man you are becoming. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You cannot control her response, but you can control your words, your actions, and the meaning behind them. I once knew a man who practiced this with patience. He never begged for attention, never tried to force connection. Instead, he sent thoughtful words, lived with purpose, and let his consistency speak. In time, he was remembered not for his texts, but for the kind of man he had become. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Don't waste your life chasing empty approval. Use each day, and even each message, to reflect your strength, your vision, your values." Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Growth often looks strange to others. But when you live by discipline and composure, you rise above opinions and stay true to yourself." So as you move forward, remember, these messages are only tools. What matters most is the man behind them. A Stoic man attracts by who he is. Calm, confident, grounded. Master yourself, and you will never need to beg for connection. You will inspire it naturally, one deliberate word and one deliberate action at a time.